I should have seen it coming. Honestly, deep down, I think I always knew. My sister Mia had a way of making everything hers, like the world owed it to her just for existing. Growing up, she was the golden child. Everyone said it. Prettier, smarter, effortlessly charming. I was always the sidekick in her story, the girl who lent her clothes, helped with her homework, and stood on the sidelines clapping while Mia shined. But she didn't just borrow things, she took them. My first crush in high school? Gone, after one flirty smile from her. My college boyfriend? She moved in with him while I was studying abroad, then claimed it was just temporary. A comfort thing. And somehow, my parents always gave her a pass. Mia doesn't mean to hurt you, my mom would say. She just doesn't think things through, Dad would add. I told myself that Jake was different. We were together for 4 years, and he saw through her games. He was mine, and I believed that with every part of me. We laughed until we cried, survived his kitchen disasters, dreamed about opening a restaurant together someday. I even used my savings to help him get started. He said no one had ever believed in him like I did, and when he proposed, it felt real. Solid, safe. Still, there were warning signs, subtle things. Mia's snide little comments while I tried on wedding dresses. "Are you sure that shape works on you?" Or when she accidentally spilled red wine on our engagement photos. "Oops, the lighting was weird anyway," she laughed. Jake would roll his eyes, hold my hand, whisper that I was overthinking it. I wanted so badly to believe him. The night of the rehearsal dinner felt like something out of a movie. Candlelight flickered across white linen tablecloths. Laughter echoed under strings of fairy lights. The air smelled like lavender and champagne. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Jake held my hand under the table, his thumb gently tracing circles on my skin while my dad stood to give his toast. He talked about love, about commitment, about finding your person, about how proud he was to welcome Jake into our family. My mom was already dabbing her eyes before he even finished. I looked across the table and saw Mia smiling, radiant in her sapphire blue bridesmaid dress. Her hair curled perfectly, her makeup glowing. She looked like she belonged at the center of everything. And for a second, I wondered if maybe, just maybe, she'd finally stopped trying to steal the spotlight. She raised her glass high and said, "To Claire and Jake, may you always choose each other first." The room clapped. Jake squeezed my hand, and for a fleeting moment, I felt genuinely happy. After dinner, I gave a little speech too, thanked our guests, our families. Then I said something about Mia, how despite everything, she'd always been there for me. My voice cracked a little. She smiled, wiped a tear, and mouthed, "I'm proud of you." We took pictures by the floral arch. Jake and I danced to our favorite song under the stars, swaying like no one else existed. People cheered when he kissed me on the forehead. I kept catching glimpses of Mia throughout the night, laughing with Jake's best man, hugging our parents, helping the servers hand out cake. She looked so at ease, so in control, but I ignored the knot in my stomach. Later that night, after all the guests had gone home, Jake walked me to my car. He cupped my face, kissed me softly, and said, "Next time I see you, you'll be my wife." I drove home humming, floating, ready to marry the man I loved. I didn't know that while I was dreaming of our future, they were already destroying it behind my back. I couldn't sleep that night. I thought it was wedding, nerves, normal stuff. I kept picturing the ceremony, the vows, the first dance, everything we'd planned for 8 months. Everything I thought I wanted. Around 6 a.m., I gave up on trying to rest and decided to surprise Jake with coffee and breakfast, our last morning as an engaged couple. One final memory before we officially became husband and wife. I even wore the hoodie he loved, the one that smelled like his cologne. Stopped by his favorite cafe, got his complicated order just right. Oat milk, extra foam, 2 pumps vanilla, 1 pump hazelnut. My hands were shaking the whole drive, but in a good way. Or so I told myself. When I pulled into his apartment's parking lot, something felt off. His car was there, but the lights were off. Still, I figured he might have stayed up late, anxious like me. I walked up the stairs, balancing coffee and a bag of croissants, smiling to myself as I slid my key into the lock. We always joked about how I was basically a second tenant anyway. The door creaked open like always. I stepped in quietly, ready to surprise him with breakfast in bed. But I didn't even make it past the hallway. I heard voices, laughter, her laughter, then silence. I walked into the bedroom, and time stopped. There they were. Jake, half covered, in sheets, and Mia, sitting beside him wearing nothing but the white silk robe I had bought for our honeymoon, her hair messy, her lipstick smudged, her legs tangled in the duvet. My heart didn't even break. It went numb. The coffee slipped from my hand, splashing across the floor. Jake jumped. "Claire, wait, this isn't what..." But Mia didn't flinch. She just stared at me with this smug, satisfied look. "I was going to tell you," she said, not even pretending to be sorry. But Jake realized he chose the wrong sister. I opened my mouth, but no words came. I backed out of the room like it wasn't real. Like maybe if I left fast enough, I could rewind time. They followed me down the hall. Jake begging, Mia shouting, but I slammed the door behind me and ran. I don't even remember getting into the car. I just drove, for hours, to nowhere, to everywhere, back to the beach where he proposed, where I said yes. I stared at the ocean, at my engagement ring, at the life I thought I had. And that's when it hit me. This time, I wasn't going to forgive her. Not again. I sat at that beach for 6 hours. 6 hours of numb silence, except for the crashing waves and the occasional jogger passing by, completely unaware that someone's entire life had just collapsed. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, gripping the engagement ring so tightly it left a mark on my palm. I replayed everything in my head, again and again. Jake staying late at work, Maya suddenly being interested in wedding details, her slipping, little digs into conversations. "Are you sure that neckline flatters you?" Jake's always had such sophisticated taste, hasn't he? I thought she was just being Maya. Now I saw it for what it was. Sabotage wrapped in sisterly concern. The rage came slowly, not loud or explosive, just cold, precise. It settled into my bones like a second skin. This wasn't the first time Maya had taken something from me. But this time she didn't just cross a line, she burned it to the ground. I stared at the ocean and thought, if they wanted a show, I'll give them one. But I'll write the script this time. So I made one phone call to Lena. Lena was my ride or die in college, the kind of girl who once got back at her cheating ex by sending his new girlfriend a care package of all his worst secrets. She and Maya hated each other on sight. It was mutual, immediate, and never resolved. The moment Lena picked up, I didn't even say hi. I just said, "Maya slept with Jake. 3 days before the wedding." There was a pause, then her voice turned ice cold. "Where do we start?" We didn't just want payback. We wanted legacy. Over the next 48 hours, I transformed. The venue? Still on. The vendors? Still coming. The dress? Steamed, packed, and ready. I told guests there was a change of plans. Jake and Maya had decided to elope. But the wedding party? still happening. As a celebration of love and new beginnings, I said I'd explain everything during my toast. They bought it, all of it. I rewrote the seating chart, put my parents next to Maya's ex-boyfriend, moved the DJ booth next to the bar, where Jake always lost self-control, reassigned the couple dance slot to, well, you'll see. And the speech? Let's just say I made sure the videographer had a front row seat. I wasn't going to cry in the bathroom. I wasn't going to leave in shame. I was going to host my betrayal and burn their fairy tale to the ground with style. Want to hear what happened next? The morning of the wedding, I woke up calm. Too calm, honestly, like the still before a storm. I'd barely slept, but adrenaline made me sharper than I'd ever felt. My dress hung on the door, still the same one I'd planned to wear down the aisle. Not because I still wanted to marry Jake, but because I looked damn good in it. If Maya was going to steal my fiancé, she could at least watch me look like the bride I should have been. The venue was stunning. White roses, string lights, champagne flutes lined up like soldiers. Guests arrived buzzing with excitement, most of them unaware anything was off. But the energy shifted when Jake and Maya walked in, together. Oh, they tried to act casual. Jake wore a sheepish grin. Maya, that smug little smirk she always defaulted to when she thought she'd won. Some people clapped. Some looked confused. Maya waved like she was royalty, like this was her day now. I stayed, out of sight until just the right moment. Lena found me backstage and whispered, "You ready to break hearts and ruin egos?" I nodded. My heels clicked across the polished wood floor as I stepped into the room, and everyone turned. The music stopped for a second. All eyes on me, in the dress, in full glam, standing tall. Jake paled. Maya's smile twitched, her eyes scanned me like she was trying to figure out what I was planning. I raised a glass. "Thank you all for being here today," I said, my voice clear. I know the couple surprised us all with their sudden elopement, but love works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? A few guests laughed awkwardly. Jake tried to smile. Maya stared, kept going. And since the ceremony is no longer needed, I thought I'd use this time to share a story. A true story. About love, loyalty, and betrayal. Lena hit play on the projector. Photos filled the screen. Ones Maya and Jake thought they'd deleted. Selfies in hotel rooms. Candid shots at family dinners I wasn't invited to. Time-stamped. Dated. Sequenced. A guest gasped. Another dropped their champagne glass. Jake looked like he'd been punched in the gut. Maya turned pale. I ended with the final image. My original engagement photo with Jake, and a red circle around the wine stain Maya had accidentally spilled on it. Silence. Then I said, "This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. And in a way, it still is. Because today I'm finally free. Free from lies. Free from manipulation. And most importantly, free from them." Then I walked off. Cheers followed. Outside, Lena was waiting in the car, engine running. "Ready for part 2? She asked. "Want to keep going?" I didn't turn my phone back on until the sun had fully set, and the beach was quiet. My dress was wrinkled from sitting in the car for hours, my hair a mess from the ocean breeze. But my mind? Sharp, focused, and weirdly calm. When I finally powered. On my phone, it was like stepping into a digital war zone. Or missed calls, over 70 unread texts. My mom, my dad, my cousins, Jake's parents, random co-workers from Jake's restaurant. Even one of the groomsmen I barely knew from high school messaged me, "Are you okay?" That was insane, but also kind of badass. There were messages that made me laugh through the rage, like my Aunt Cheryl who texted, "I always knew Maya was trouble. Remember when she stole your Halloween candy in '04? Same energy." Or my cousin Hannah, "Girl, I canceled my flight the second you walked off that altar." You did the right thing. And then there were the angry ones. Jake, of course. His first message started like this. I can't believe you humiliated us in front of everyone. US. He still thought they were a team. Cute. He wrote 3 paragraphs. Trying to gaslight me into thinking I had ruined the wedding, not the cheating, not the betrayal. Me, for reacting. I didn't respond. Didn't even open it. I took a screenshot instead, just in case I ever needed a reminder of why I left. Maya's texts were shorter, more venomous, real mature. You're always the victim. At least now Jake sees who you really are. Right. Because I'm the villain for not marrying the man who slept with my sister. Logic is dead. But buried beneath all that digital trash were the messages that mattered. From Lena, my best friend, the real MVP of this story. You have no idea how proud I am of you. Call me when you're ready. I'll bring tequila. From my dad. I wish I had protected you more. I'm so sorry. That one made me cry. And then came the internet. See, Lena is a low-key genius. She'd set up her phone to record from the corner of the venue just in case. No names, no faces. Just the audio of me confronting them. The quiet gasps, the sound of the crowd parting. My voice, shaking but clear. You two deserve each other, and nothing more. Lena uploaded it to Reddit. It got picked up by TikTok, Twitter, even some drama channels on YouTube. Comments rolled in like wildfire. This is the plot of a Netflix movie. Protect this woman at all costs. Your sister is evil, and I hope she stubs her toe every morning for the rest of her life. Jake's business got review bombed. Maya went private on everything. Even my mom started answering calls with, yes, she's fine. Yes, it really happened. No, she's not going back to him. And me? I booked a last-minute flight, used the honeymoon. Reservation. Took Lena with me. We drank mimosas on a balcony overlooking the ocean, ate overpriced room service in robes, and toasted to karma. But just when I thought this chapter was over, an invitation arrived. In the mail. Handwritten. Elegant. It was from Maya. She was getting married again, to someone new, and she wanted me to come. No, not as a guest. As her maid of honor. Yeah, I'll tell you all about that next. When the invitation finally arrived in the mail, I wasn't prepared for how much it would shake me. There it was. An elegant card with delicate gold lettering, addressed to me in Maya's familiar handwriting. Dear Claire, it would mean the world to me if you would stand by my side on my wedding day. The words hit me like a cold wave. Maya, the sister who had shattered my world just days before our wedding by stealing my fiancé, was now asking me to be her maid of honor. I sat frozen, staring at the card as a flood of emotions overwhelmed me. Shock, anger, betrayal, confusion. How could she expect me to say yes after everything she'd done, after all the lies, the secret meetings, the whispered apologies behind my back? For years, Maya had been the golden child in our family, always prettier, smarter, more charming. She had borrowed my clothes, my friends, and eventually my boyfriends without a second thought. But this was beyond anything I'd imagined. Wanted to rip the invitation apart, throw it in the trash, and never think about it again. Yet a small, stubborn part of me wondered, was this her way of trying to make amends? Was there even a tiny spark of remorse behind those carefully penned words? That night, I called my best friend Lena and showed her the invitation. Her face darkened instantly. Claire, don't let her mess with your head. Maya's a master manipulator. This could be a trap to pull you back into her world. I wanted to believe Lena, but a part of me hoped this might be real. Maybe this could be the first step toward healing. Still, I couldn't shake the memories of all the times Maya had torn me down, the betrayals that still haunted me. Sleep didn't come easy. I lay awake, haunted by memories of our childhood, laughing in the backyard, sharing secrets late into the night, the sisterly bond I once believed was unbreakable. Could those memories be enough to rebuild what had been lost? My mom's voice echoed in my mind the next morning when I called her, scared and unsure. She was hesitant, worried I'd reopen old wounds, but then she said something that surprised me. Maybe this is your chance for closure, Claire. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened. It means freeing yourself from the pain. Her words stayed with me throughout the day. I realized the decision wasn't just about attending Maya's wedding. It was about how much power I wanted to give Maya over my heart and my future. After wrestling with my emotions for days, I made the hardest call of all. I picked up the phone and dialed Maya's number. The line rang longer than I expected. When she finally answered, her voice was calm but uncertain. Claire, thank you for calling. I want to try and make things right. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, but I'm willing to listen. That conversation didn't erase the pain or the betrayals overnight, but it marked the first time I felt like I was reclaiming my story. I was no longer just the wounded sister. I was the one deciding what happened next. There's so much more to this story, so many twists still to come.